The signal from the stars. Ambassador Telluri's bioluminescent tendrils dimmed as she entered the Grand Council chamber of Nexus Station. The enormous space was designed for comfort, minimal gravity, temperature-controlled mists, and cushioned surfaces that accommodated the delicate physiology of the Lumari collective species. But today, no one felt comfortable. The emergency broadcast screens displayed the latest devastation. Colony Primaris 7 had gone silent 3 hours ago. Before communication ceased, they had transmitted images of the Void Swarm's attack, horrifying footage of living darkness consuming everything in its path. "We have lost another 17 million souls," Telluri announced, her voice translated into the harmonic tones preferred by the council members. The defense grid barely slowed them down. High Counselor Zeph, his crystalline form pulsing with deep blue lights of distress, gestured with a gossamer appendage. "That makes 4 major colonies in the last cycle. Our most advanced weapons are ineffective. The Void Swarm adapts faster than our defensive systems can evolve." The council chamber erupted in a chorus of musical tones, the sound of multiple species expressing their anguish. The Lumari Collective, a peaceful federation of 16 sentient species spanning 3 spiral arms of the galaxy, faced extinction after 10,000 years of prosperity. Science Director Marin floated forward, his gelatinous body contracting nervously. "There may be an option we haven't considered." All attention turned to him. "In our deep space surveys, we found a quarantine system with unusual inhabitants." Marin activated a holographic display showing a blue-green planet that made several counselors recoil. "They call it Earth. By our standards, it's a death world." "A death world?" Telluri asked. "Crushing gravity at 9.8 meters per second squared, nearly triple our average. Extreme temperature variations from -50 to +50 degrees Celsius. Atmospheric pressure that would rupture most of our bodies. Radiation levels from their star that would be considered hazardous on any Lumari world." Marin paused. "And yet, the inhabitants don't merely survive there. They thrive." The display showed images that seemed impossible. Beings moving under their own power in gravity that would crush most collective species. Creatures functioning in temperature ranges that would cause cellular collapse for Lumari physiology. Beings that appeared to intentionally expose themselves to solar radiation. "Deathworlders," someone whispered, the word carrying both fear and awe. "They're savages," protested Counselor Eris, her plant-like fronds trembling. "Their history is filled with conflict. They fight among themselves constantly." "Precisely," Marin replied. "They understand combat in ways we never needed to. They've developed technologies and tactics born of conflict. And most importantly," he paused dramatically, "they possess something we fundamentally lack: physical resilience and an innate understanding of warfare." Telluri felt hope stirring for the first time since the Void Swarm appeared. "Can we contact them?" "We've been monitoring their communications," Marin explained. "They've achieved faster than light travel within the last decade. They maintain a unified planetary defense force while preserving separate nations. And they have something else." He displayed more images. The council members stared at massive ships bristling with weapons, vessels built not for scientific exploration or trade, but for war. "They call it the United Earth Defense Fleet," Marin said. "Our quarantine protocols have kept us from making contact until now." "But the quarantine exists for good reason," interrupted Counselor Eris. "Deathworlders are dangerous and unpredictable. They could be worse than the Void Swarm." High Counselor Zeph's crystalline form pulsed with conflicting colors. "The quarantine protocols would doom us if maintained, but breaking them could bring a different kind of destruction." "I've seen what the Void Swarm does to our people," Telluri said, her voice cutting through the debate. "If these humans can help us, we must try. The Void Swarm gives us no choice." After hours of debate, desperation won over caution. Telluri found herself at the primary communication array, composing a message that would change the fate of the galaxy. To the people of Earth, she began, her translator working to convert Lumari harmonics into Earth's digital formats. We are the Lumari Collective, and we face extinction. We have observed your strength, your resilience, and your determination from afar. Our worlds are being consumed by an entity we call the Void Swarm. We need. She paused, knowing the next words would shatter thousands of years of collective protocol. We need warriors. We need those who understand battle. We need humans. The message shot across space, breaking every quarantine protocol the collective had established in its history. As Telluri watched it speed toward Earth, she wondered if she had just saved her people or doomed them to an even worse fate. They would soon find out. Admiral Kira Chen stood at the viewport of Earth Orbital Command, her reflection ghosted against the stars. Below her, Earth rotated slowly, its blue-green surface marbled with white clouds and the lights of megacities. After the global unification wars 15 years ago, humanity had finally achieved what centuries of diplomacy had failed to accomplish: a united planet with a common purpose. Reach for the stars. Admiral, Lieutenant Commander Jackson called from his station. The Security Council is assembled. Chen nodded and turned away from the viewport, her boots making solid thuds against the metal deck. The conference room was filled with military and political leaders from Earth's major powers, their faces illuminated by holographic displays showing the alien message that had arrived 6 hours ago. Ladies and gentlemen, Chen began, her voice commanding immediate attention. The Deep Space Array has confirmed this transmission's authenticity. We are not alone, and someone out there needs our help. General Okafor of the African Federation leaned forward. The technological implications alone. These aliens have FTL capabilities that make our Alcubierre drives look primitive. With respect, General, Chen replied, I'm more interested in why they're specifically asking for warriors. She gestured to the tactical displays. Their message mentioned something called the Void Swarm. Intelligence suggests they're losing colonies rapidly. The room erupted in discussion. Earth had only recently unified after the devastating unification wars. The United Earth Defense Fleet was barely a decade old, created to defend humanity against potential cosmic threats that many had considered purely theoretical. Now those threats had become real. The interesting part, said Dr. Eliza Wong, chief xenobiologist, bringing up new data, is their description of Earth as a death world. Based on the transmission data, their normal gravity is approximately 1/3 of ours. Their atmospheric pressure is roughly half of what we consider comfortable. To them, we're practically superhuman. Admiral Chen couldn't help but smile. Humanity had always feared they'd be the primitives when they met alien life. Instead, they were being called as saviors. The fleet is ready, she stated, pulling up images of Earth's most powerful ships. The UES Invictus, her own command, led the list. We've been running first contact drills for decades. We never expected it to be like this, but we're prepared. President Mbeki, attending via hologram, spoke up. Admiral Chen, your record in the Pacific campaign makes you our best choice to lead this mission. But remember, this is still first contact. We need warriors, yes, but we also need diplomats. That's why I'd already selected my crew, Chen responded. She brought up personnel files. Commander Raj Singh, my XO, has degrees in xenopolitics and diplomatic relations. Dr. Takahashi can adapt our technology to work with alien systems. And Major Santos Marines are the best-trained first response team we have. The next 48 hours were a blur of preparation. The United Earth Defense Fleet mobilized with an efficiency that would have impressed even the Lumari observers. 20 ships led by the Invictus were made ready, each vessel a testament to humanity's martial history. Powerful, heavily armored, and built to withstand conditions that would tear apart Lumari vessels. In her quarters aboard the Invictus, Chen reviewed the alien message one last time. The fear in Ambassador Telluri's translated voice was clear. Whatever this void swarm was, It had terrified a civilization far more technologically advanced than Earth. "Admiral, to the bridge." Commander Singh's voice came over the intercom. "Final preparations are complete." Chen took one last look at Earth through her viewport. 10,000 years of human evolution on a world that would kill most alien species had prepared them for this moment. They were stronger, tougher, and more resilient than the Lumari species. Maybe that's exactly what the galaxy needed right now. "All ships, this is Admiral Chen," she announced over the fleet-wide channel. "We're about to make history. Humanity's first faster-than-light jump will take us straight into a war. But we're not going to fight for conquest or resources. We're going because someone asked for help, and that's what humans do." The fleet's engines hummed to life, creating a deep resonance that vibrated through the hull. As the countdown began, Chen thought about the desperate aliens waiting for their arrival. "Fleet Command, this is Invictus. All ships report ready for jump." She took a deep breath and gave the order that would change humanity's destiny forever. "Initiate FTL sequence. May God have mercy on the Void Swarm, because humanity won't." The stars blurred, and humanity took its first step into a larger galaxy. First contact, first blood. Nexus Station was beautiful in a delicate way, like a vast crystal sculpture floating in space. As the human fleet dropped out of FTL, the contrast was striking. Earth ships were dark, angular, and powerful, their armor plates and weapon systems clearly visible against the gleaming, translucent structure of the alien station. Ambassador Telluri watched through the station's observation dome as the human vessels approached. Her bioluminescent tendrils pulsed with a mixture of hope and apprehension. Behind her, other collective members whispered in their musical languages. "Their ships," Science Director Marin observed with fascination. "They're built to withstand impacts that would shatter our vessels." The communications channel activated with a sound that made several Lumari flinch. "Nexus Station, this is Admiral Chen of the UES Invictus. Request permission to dock." The docking procedure itself caused the first of many cultural shocks. The human ship's maneuvering thrusters, considered dangerously powerful by collective standards, made precise adjustments with ease. The docking clamps had to be reinforced just to handle the mass of the human vessel. When the airlock cycled open, Telluri and the welcoming committee experienced their first direct encounter with humans. Admiral Chen led her team, walking with what seemed to the aliens like incredible heaviness. Each step that should have crushed the deck plates somehow didn't. Behind her, Commander Singh carried monitoring equipment that would have required anti-gravity assistance for any collective species. "Welcome to Nexus Station," Telluri said through her translator. "We are grateful for your response to our call." Chen smiled, an expression that showed teeth, something that would have been a threat display among some collective species, but her voice was measured and calm. "We're here to help, though I have to admit your artificial gravity is a bit light for us." Dr. Takahashi checked his equipment. "It's set to approximately 0.3 Earth standard, Admiral." The collective members exchanged glances. What they considered normal gravity was barely enough to keep humans anchored. As if to demonstrate this, Major Santos accidentally pushed off too hard while walking and had to catch herself before she floated away. "Perhaps we should move to the reinforced conference room," Marin suggested. "It's been prepared for your physical requirements." The human delegation followed their hosts through corridors that seemed to them to be made of glass and light. Collective members they passed stopped and stared, some retreating into side passages. The humans' solid forms and confident movements were unlike anything they had seen before. The conference room had been hastily modified with stronger chairs and increased gravity. As they settled in, Telluri activated a holographic display showing the Void Swarm's advance across collective space. "They adapt to everything we deploy against them," she explained, her tendrils dimming with distress. "Our weapons, our defenses, even our attempts to negotiate. They just keep coming, consuming everything in their path." Admiral Chen studied the tactical display with experienced eyes. "Their pattern suggests a hive mind structure. Hit them at the center." and the rest might fall apart. She turned to Dr. Wong. "What readings are you getting?" Dr. Wong consulted her instruments. "Fascinating. The void swarm's biological signatures indicate they're silicon-based, not carbon like us. Their atmospheric requirements." She looked up. "They need even less gravity than the collective. High-pressure environments would crush them, just like Earth's gravity would." Major Santos added with a predatory smile that made several collective members nervous. The briefing continued for hours. The humans learned about collective technology, their efficient FTL drives, their energy weapons that could reshape matter itself. The collective learned about human endurance, their immune systems that could fight off most alien pathogens, their ability to survive in environments that would kill most species in the galaxy. Then the alarms began. "Void swarm detected." The announcement cut through all languages, multiple vectors approaching at combat speed. Admiral Chen was on her feet instantly, her movements powerful even in the low gravity. "How long until they reach the station?" 20 minutes, Telluri answered, her tendrils flickering with fear. "That's 19 minutes more than we need." Chen activated her comm. "All Earth ships, battle stations. Time to show the galaxy what Deathworlders can do." As the humans rushed to their ships with incredible speed, Telluri watched them go. For the first time since the void swarm appeared, she felt something new: hope. The Deathworlders had come, and they moved like warriors born. The void swarm emerged from FTL travel like a cloud of metallic insects, their biomechanical hulls absorbing the light from Nexus Station's 3 moons. But this time, instead of finding helpless collective ships, they faced the dark, solid wall of Earth's battle fleet. "All ships, Combat Formation Delta." Admiral Chen's voice cut through the comm channels. "They want to see what humanity can do. Let's show them." The Invictus's engines roared to life, a sound that made collective observers cover their sensory organs. Human ships moved with impossible speed for their size, their reinforced hulls shrugging off the light gravity fields that would have disrupted collective vessels. "Swarm launching biological weapons," Commander Singh reported from his station. "Some kind of spore cloud." Chen didn't even flinch. "They don't know about human immune systems yet. Activate point defense systems and launch fighters." The space around Nexus lit up with combat. Earth fighters, piloted by humans who could withstand G-forces that would kill either collective or swarm species, performed maneuvers that seemed to defy physics. The swarm's biological weapons, designed to dissolve collective ships, splashed harmlessly against Earth vessels' reinforced hulls. "Admiral," Major Santos' voice crackled over the comm. "They've breached Nexus's outer docks. Request permission to show them what marine combat teams can do." "Granted. Give them hell, Major." Inside Nexus Station, the contrast between species became even more apparent. The Void Swarm warriors, evolved for light gravity environments, found themselves facing human marines in powered combat armor. What should have been an easy conquest turned into a nightmare. Santos led her team through the station's corridors, their boots magnetized to compensate for the low gravity. "Remember your training," she commanded. "Short bursts, controlled movements. Don't break the station while breaking the enemy." The first group of swarm warriors they encountered learned about human combat capabilities the hard way. While collective weapons had struggled to penetrate their natural armor, human ballistic weapons punched right through. The swarm's biological advantages meant nothing against beings evolved on a world with triple their gravity tolerance. "Major, they're releasing some kind of nerve agent," one of Santos' Marines called out. Santos checked her suit's readings and laughed. "Their biochemistry is so different from ours it can't affect us. Keep pushing forward." In space, the battle continued. The Invictus's main gun spoke, each shot precisely calculated by Dr. Takahashi's engineering team to avoid damaging Nexus's delicate structure while still destroying swarm ships. The collective observers watched in awe as human ships took hits that would have vaporized their vessels yet continued fighting. "Their command ship is retreating," Singh reported. They're not used to enemies who can hurt them. Chen gripped her command chair. Press the advantage. All ships forward. Don't let them regroup. The swarm, facing real resistance for the first time, began to retreat. Their hive mind tactics, so effective against the collective, fell apart against human unpredictability and resilience. Ships designed to dissolve collective vessels couldn't breach human armor. Weapons meant to overwhelm alien nervous systems had no effect on human biology. On Nexus Station, Santo's team reached the main docking bay just as the last swarm boarders tried to escape. The Marines' accuracy in low gravity was devastating. Not a single shot damaged the station's structure, but every swarm warrior fell. "Nexus is secure," Santos reported, her voice calm despite having just fought through dozens of alien warriors. Enemy in full retreat. The battle was over almost as quickly as it had begun. As the swarm fleet disappeared into FTL, leaving their dead and wounded behind, the collective members emerged from their shelters to find their station virtually undamaged and their human protectors barely winded. Telluri approached Admiral Chen on the bridge of the Invictus, her tendrils shimmering with emotion. You drove them off. Decades of fighting, and you drove them off in one battle." Chen shook her head. "We drove them back, not off. They'll return, probably with new adaptations. But now, they know something they didn't before." She smiled grimly. "They know that the galaxy has teeth now. Human teeth." As collective cleanup crews began repairs, supervised by human engineers, the message spread across their worlds. The Deathworlders had not just survived their first battle with the Void Swarm, they had won it decisively. For the first time in years, the collective dared to hope. In the weeks following the Battle of Nexus, the station's laboratories became a fusion of human and collective science. Dr. Takahashi worked alongside collective scientists, combining their different approaches to warfare. "Their technology is amazing," Dr. Wong said, examining a collective energy weapon. "But they never thought to add stabilizers for high-gravity environments." She lifted the delicate weapon with careful hands. No wonder they couldn't hit the swarm effectively. Dr. Takahashi nodded, his fingers dancing over a holographic display. "And look at their ship designs. Beautiful, but one good impact would shatter them. We need to combine their energy tech with our armor." The collective scientists watched in fascination as the humans worked. Where their own people needed anti-gravity assistance to move, humans carried heavy equipment with ease. What they considered dangerous radiation levels, humans shrugged off as minor inconveniences. In the command center, Admiral Chen and Ambassador Telluri studied tactical displays showing swarm movements. "They're regrouping here." Chen pointed to a dark region of space. "The Obsidian Nebula. Perfect hiding spot. Unless you're a species that can handle the radiation." Telluri's tendrils flickered with concern. The nebula's radiation levels would kill most collective pilots in minutes. "But not humans," Chen smiled. "Our bodies evolved dealing with solar radiation on Earth. We can handle it long enough to strike." She turned to Commander Singh, who was analyzing swarm communication patterns. "What have you found?" "They're like insects back on Earth," Singh explained. "They communicate through chemical and electromagnetic signals. But here's the interesting part. They're all connected to their queen. Break that connection." He let the implication hang. Major Santos' Marines had spent the time training collective security forces in Nexus's reinforced training rooms. She demonstrated human combat techniques modified for lower gravity. "You don't need our strength," she explained to a group of crystalline warriors. "You have advantages we don't. Natural armor, energy manipulation. You just need to learn to use them differently." The collective forces learned quickly. What they lacked in physical power, they made up for in precision and natural abilities. Soon, mixed human collective squadrons were running combat drills together. In the engineering bay, the first hybrid weapons rolled out. Collective energy weapons mounted on human-designed stabilizing platforms, armor plates infused with collective crystal technology that could absorb and redirect energy attacks. "We've cracked their biological code," Dr. Wong announced during a briefing. She displayed a complex molecular structure. The Void Swarm uses silicon-based biology. They're tough in space, but they have a critical weakness. They can't handle sudden pressure changes. Dr. Takahashi stepped forward. "So we've designed these." He revealed a rack of new weapons. Pressure bombs. They create localized high-pressure zones, harmless to humans, and the collective, but they'll crack swarm armor like eggs. The collective council watched in amazement as humans transformed their defensive stations into forward bases. Where their species saw only dangerous environments, humans saw tactical advantages. "The Obsidian Nebula's radiation will blind their sensors," Chen explained to the council. "But our ships can handle it. We'll strike through the nebula, hit their staging area, and find their queen." Telluri studied the battle plans. "You intend to enter the nebula yourself. Even with your resistance, the radiation levels will be uncomfortable," Chen finished. "But we can take it. That's what humans do. We endure." The combined fleet grew stronger each day. Collective ships, now reinforced with human-designed armor, practiced formations alongside Earth vessels. Marine dropships carried mixed-species combat teams, each bringing their unique strengths to the fight. "They're adapting their tactics," Singh reported, monitoring swarm communications. "But they can't adapt to what they don't understand. And they've never seen anything like us." In her quarters, Admiral Chen recorded a message to Earth Command. "The Void Swarm thinks they can win through evolution and adaptation. But they've never faced a species that thrived on adversity. Humanity spent thousands of years preparing for this without knowing it. Every war, every disaster, every hardship made us stronger." She looked out at the fleet preparing for battle. Human ships, dark and powerful, flew in formation with collective vessels that now gleamed with reinforced armor. "We're not just fighting for ourselves anymore," she concluded. "We're fighting for a galaxy that needs what humanity has always had, the strength to face impossible odds and the will to win." The counterstrike was about to begin. The heart of darkness. The Obsidian Nebula lived up to its name. Purple-black clouds of radioactive gas swirled around the human collective fleet as they pushed deeper into swarm territory. On the bridge of the Invictus, the radiation warning systems blinked constantly, but the crew ignored them. "Radiation levels rising," Commander Singh reported calmly. "Collective ships are holding together with the new shielding, but they can't take much more, Admiral." Chen nodded. "They don't need to. We just need to get them close enough." She activated the fleet-wide comm. "All ships maintain formation. Collective vessels prepare to launch on my mark." The plan was risky, but played to everyone's strengths. The collective ships with their superior speed and maneuverability would strike first. The heavier human vessels would follow, using the chaos to push straight to the heart of the swarm's nest. "Marine teams ready, Admiral." Major Santo's voice crackled through the comm. "Mixed squads are in drop pods." The nebula began to thin, revealing their target, a massive organic structure floating in space. The swarm's main hive was bigger than anything they'd seen before, a twisted mass of biological and mechanical parts that pulsed with alien life. "Now," Chen ordered. Collective ships burst from the nebula like shards of crystal, their new weapons blazing. Enhanced by human engineering, their energy beams cut through swarm defenses with unprecedented power. The swarm responded immediately, but their usual tactics failed against the modified shields. "Second wave launch," Chen commanded. Human warships emerged from the purple clouds, their point defense systems clearing paths through waves of biological weapons. The Invictus led the charge, its reinforced hull shrugging off impacts that would have destroyed lesser vessels. Inside the drop pods, Major Santos and her mixed-species assault team prepared for landing. Collective warriors, normally too fragile for such missions, wore human-designed combat suits that protected them from both damage and their own anxiety about high-gravity combat. "Remember your training," Santos told them. "We each have our part to play. Hit them with everything we've got." The pods launched, streaking toward the hive structure. Some were hit by swarm fire, but most made it through. They crashed into the organic surface, and assault teams poured out into the alien environment. "Pressure twice what they're used to," Santos reported as her team secured their landing zone. "They're adapting, but they're not used to so many different species working together. Our advantage is coordination." Inside the hive, the environment was nightmarish. Organic corridors that pulsed with alien life, surfaces that seemed to react to their presence. The mixed teams moved forward, human marines providing physical strength while collective warriors used their natural abilities to detect swarm movements through the structure. "We're picking up a massive energy signature at the center of the hive," reported Terry, a crystalline warrior whose body could sense electromagnetic fluctuations. "It must be the Queen." "All teams converge on that location," Santos ordered. "Admiral, we're heading for the central chamber." Above the hive, the space battle continued to rage. Human ships formed a protective barrier around the more fragile collective vessels, absorbing damage that would have destroyed their allies. "They're launching a counterattack," Singh warned. "New biological weapons, some kind of corrosive agent." "Activate the new shields," Chen ordered. Dr. Takahashi's team had modified their defenses based on collective technology, creating energy fields that adapted to different attacks. The swarm weapons splashed harmlessly against the new shields, their corrosive properties neutralized by the adaptive energy fields. "They're learning," Singh observed, "but not fast enough." Inside the hive, Santo's team fought their way through waves of swarm defenders. The narrow corridors should have been a death trap, but the mixed teams proved devastatingly effective. Human marines provided the raw power, while collective warriors used their specialized abilities to counter swarm adaptations. "The Queen's chamber is just ahead," Terry reported, her crystalline body glowing with energy absorbed from swarm attacks. "But there's something strange about the readings." The massive doors to the central chamber parted, revealing a sight that made even the battle-hardened marines pause. The Swarm Queen was enormous, a pulsating mass of silicon-based life that filled much of the cavernous space. Tendrils of living matter connected her to the hive structure itself, and her surface rippled with what appeared to be thousands of smaller swarm units integrated into her form. "By the stars," whispered one of the collective warriors, "she's not just controlling the hive. She is the hive." The Queen's surface rippled, and a voice that seemed to come from everywhere at once filled their minds, not words, but impressions of hunger, expansion, and alien purpose. "She's trying to communicate," Dr. Wong's voice came through their comms. She had been monitoring the mission from the Invictus. "The patterns match what we've seen in their ship movements. It's not just communication, it's control." "Then we know what to target," Santos replied. She turned to her team. "Deploy the pressure bombs around the chamber. We need to hit her from all sides simultaneously." The team moved into position, human marines and collective warriors working in perfect coordination. The swarm defenders swarmed toward them, but they held their ground, protecting the bomb placement team. "Bombs in position," reported Corporal Rodriguez. "Ready on your mark, Major." Santos took a deep breath. "All teams clear the blast radius. Detonation in 30 seconds. As they retreated from the chamber, the Queen seemed to sense their plan. The hive structure itself began to shift, corridors closing and new ones opening, as the living architecture tried to trap them. "Move," Santos ordered as a passage began to seal behind them. A human marine grabbed a crystalline warrior who couldn't move fast enough, carrying the alien to safety despite the increasing pressure. Detonation in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The pressure bombs activated simultaneously, creating a rapidly expanding high-pressure zone around the Queen. The effect was immediate and devastating. The silicon-based structure of the Swarm Queen, evolved for low-pressure environments, began to crack. Fissures appeared across her massive form as the pressure crushed her alien physiology. A psychic scream tore through their minds as the Queen's consciousness fragmented. Throughout the hive and across space, swarm units suddenly lost coordination, their movements becoming erratic and confused. "Admiral, the Queen is down," Santos reported. "Repeat, the swarm queen is neutralized." On the bridge of the Invictus, Chen watched as the swarm fleet fell into disarray. Ships that had been attacking in perfect coordination now moved randomly, some colliding with each other in their confusion. "All ships, press the advantage," Chen ordered. "Don't let any of them escape to regroup." The combined fleet moved in, their weapons tearing through the now disorganized swarm vessels. Without the Queen's guidance, the advanced adaptations that had made the swarm so dangerous failed. Their biological advantage had become their greatest weakness, complete dependence on a centralized intelligence. Inside the hive, Santos' team fought their way back to the extraction point. The swarm defenders still attacked, but their movements were uncoordinated and predictable. "The ships are starting to self-destruct," Singh reported as some of the larger swarm vessels began to implode. "They can't function without the Queen's control." 2 hours later, it was over. The combined fleet had destroyed or disabled every swarm vessel. The hive structure itself had begun to decay without the Queen's consciousness to maintain it. As the human and collective ships regrouped, Chen received a transmission from Ambassador Telluri. "Admiral, Telluri's tendrils were glowing with intense emotion. I don't know how to express our gratitude. You've done what we thought impossible. The collective owes humanity a debt we can never repay." Chen smiled. "We didn't do it alone, Ambassador. This victory belongs to both our peoples." 1 month later, Admiral Chen stood before the Collective Council in the newly reinforced Grand Chamber. The massive space had been redesigned to accommodate both collective species and humans, with variable gravity sections and adaptable environmental controls. "The last of the swarm outposts has been eliminated," Chen reported. "Without the Queen's guidance, they were unable to coordinate or adapt. Our scientists believe the threat has been permanently neutralized." High Counselor Zeph's crystalline form pulsed with bright colors of joy and relief. "Admiral Chen, the collective has existed for 10,000 years. In all that time, we never encountered a challenge we could not overcome through peaceful means, until the Void Swarm. We had forgotten that sometimes survival requires strength and the will to fight." Telluri floated forward. "The Council has reached a unanimous decision. We formally invite humanity to join the Lumari Collective as full members, with all rights and privileges. Furthermore, we propose the creation of a new defensive force, a combined fleet under joint command, to ensure that neither of our peoples ever faces such a threat alone again." Chen looked around the chamber at the alien faces that,